And I'm here with Rick Smolan, and he's going to tell me about his new project, The Human Face of Big Data. So this is your latest, greatest project. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I probably have the best job in the world. Every 18 months I get to invite my heroes and my peers and some young journalists to go around the world and do a deep dive on sort of emerging topics. And the phrase I heard about a year ago, 18 months ago, at all of the conferences I went to was this phrase, big data. And I sort of glazed over whenever people said it. It's like, well, lots of data, why is that interesting? And then the more I started talking to people, it started feeling like the early days of the internet, where there was something there that was actually going to touch and affect all of our lives. So I thought it'd be really interesting to do a project where we invite lots of people around the world to participate in sort of telling this story. It's the best analogy that anyone made to me was Marissa Mayer, who's now at Yahoo, who said that she felt like it was like watching the world develop a nervous system, that all of us with our smartphones, all this data being collected, it's now starting to become this real-time feedback loop that the human race has never had before. So we've had 100 journalists around the world looking for photographs and bringing back wonderful sort of stories that are actually going to touch our children's lives and our parents' lives.
How would you explain what big data is to a child?
It's funny, my son Jesse just turned 10, and I was trying to explain to him what big data is, and I was saying, imagine if your whole life, Jesse, you've been looking through one eye, and suddenly you opened up a second eye. So what you're seeing is not just more data, but you're seeing a new dimension. You're actually able to see something you couldn't see with just one eye. And he said, well, would a computer let us open up a third eye and a fourth eye? I said, exactly. That's what we're seeing for the first time. We can take all this data collected by all these different devices and organizations, and we can now start seeing patterns by overlapping them and extracting meaning from them. So it's something we've never actually seen before in the world. I think, people have been saying, well, big data is Big Brother. It's about people spying and stealing your cookies and stealing your passwords. And absolutely, any new tool obviously can be used for good or evil, but it also reminds me of the early days of the internet, where people were saying that the internet was simply another way to deliver pornography. And yeah, it's probably good for that, but it obviously turned out to be good for a lot of other things too. So this week, we're actually inviting people all over the world to actually get a little taste of big data. We have an app which is called Measure Our World. If you go to humanfaceofdata.com, we have an app which is iOS and Android, and it's a one-week project starting on Wednesday, September 26th through October 2nd. And it's an app where you get to answer questions, compare yourself to other people around the world, and it's going to be a one-week sort of snapshot of humanity. And you get to learn about yourself. It's fun, it's engaging, and you get the sense of how our smartphones are helping us understand how we compare to each other and how we navigate through the world.
So you created Big Brother, and it is us, right?
I hope it's going to make people have a sort of a global conversation. And we're actually giving 10,000 copies of this book away in the morning of November 20th to 10,000 influential men and women around the world on one day, the same morning. So EMC is sponsoring the whole project, FedEx is delivering the book, and I hope people will just think about big data. And I think this is not just be companies and corporations and governments. I think that all of us need to be talking about how we control the data that we're generating and that's being collected about us, so we have control over that at the end of the day.
Great, thank you so much.
Sure.